So here we are at the right wingtip, and you can see my broken line. Hey everybody, I got a new wing. It's a new to me wing. This is a used Little Cloud Spurline. I don't know whatever that is. When I went and got my P2 certification, it was all in service to go to the beach and fly at Jockey's Ridge over in the North Carolina Outer Banks, and this is a smaller 18-meter wing that can handle more wind and let me do it. So it's technically a mini wing. I bought it used. So today, after looking at it, it's got broken lines, which was not disclosed to me. Seller, if you're watching this, I really don't appreciate that. Thanks. Today we're going to replace them. And I thought I'd bring you on this journey because paragliding lines aren't tied in knots. They're made in loops. And you'll notice it's stitched into a loop. None of these are knots, they're just loops inside of loops. So replacing lines is kind of weird to do if you've never done it before, and maybe this will help somebody. Here we go. By the way, this isn't a sponsorship, but Lines in a Day by Paramotor City. They really came in clutch. So here we are at the right wingtip, and you can see my broken line. This is a Stabilo on the C position, and then also right next to it is basically broken line Stabilo D position. So I could probably break that if I really wanted to, but I've got two lines to replace. Before replacing lines, if they're intact on the other side, measure what you have on the opposite edge and find out how long your lines are. If it's not a very well-known wing brand like this, you're going to need to know the length of the line to get a replacement made. That was the case for me, so I did have to send the length first, and it's going to be in centimeters. So I came over here to the other left wingtip and measured out the length of those two lines to get the length I needed for these two replacement lines. You'll also need the diameter. So these are 1.15 millimeters. I measured the D at 71.3 centimeters. And again, 1.15 millimeters, the C position at 56.6 centimeters. So I've got the replacement lines. Now the trick is getting to them. So as I said before, paraglider lines are not knotted, they're looped. And the way that it's done is from the wing working downwards. So if you have a broken line at the last cascade up at the wing, you actually have to undo everything from the riser up. So let's give that a shot now. Alright, step one is to lay out the riser. I'm lucky that this is on a tip because I can do this very small, just unfurl it a little bit and find the tip. So we come out here to our broken line. We trace this back. There's the second cascade. And we keep going all the way back to the riser. So on this wing, my Stabilo line is attached to the B riser. This guy here, I've got to undo this and everything that it's attached to get to the wing tie-in. So let's go ahead and undo this. So with our riser facing forward, we're working on the B's, so of course we're laying the A's off to the side. We're going to undo this quick link or malleon. Usually we'll take a pair of pliers. They Loctite them pretty good on there. And we want to maintain the line layout. So you notice this actual B line going up to the wing is on the inside, closer to the gate of the malleon. When we put it back on, we want to make sure that's the case. Loctited the crap out of that one, look at all that. Alright, we're slipping off the O-ring here, and I'll show you how to put these back on too in a second. These O-rings keep the lines from getting crossed or underneath one another and changing the length of the line. So you slip the O-ring off, and pulling the lines off. There's the B line. There's the Stabilo line. Now we're going to put the B line right back on, close the malleon, and come back to it with the Stabilo line. So that this doesn't get tangled up into anything, doesn't get lost, and it doesn't change its orientation. Okay, now that we've got our line free, we're going to work our way down the line and find the first cascade. Here it is. At Cascades, you'll see loops on top of each other. Usually you just push them together and they'll slide apart. And that'll give you a pretty good idea of what goes where. So from the left here, this is the line that went to the riser. We're going to pull that all the way through. Yep, it's a long one. Once we get to the bottom here, I'm going to put this back over here on the left so that I don't get it turned around either. It's very important that you keep these in their orientation and in their position. So I'm pulling the loop off of the other loop. There we go. First cascade is free. And now we find out which of these we're actually working on. So when they were held together, the one furthest from the camera goes towards the A and B position, which is not the one that's broken, so we're going to leave that to the side. Get the loops off of our damaged lines here at the final cascade. So here we are at our broken lines. Pretty gnarly damage there. Again, you just push them together until the loops come free and slide them apart. Now we still want to maintain the orientation of the line that we just took off, but now we can go all the way to the wing tip and remove the broken lines. So up here at the wing tip, same thing, push the loop through, off it comes. There you go. One broken line removed. The second one, of course, we could have removed without actually taking the risers and all the other lines off, but we'd have to remove all the other lines off the riser to put a new line back on anyways. Pull that free. Done and done. So now that we've got them off the wing, we're ready to install new lines. If you have to measure your lines first, like I did, you want to go through this entire process before on the other side of the wing to get your length. So you take your line, and from the tip of the loop to the tip of the loop, you'd measure that usually with a metric yardstick, if you have one. I guess that would be a meter stick. And then with a pair of calipers, you measure the diameter of an undamaged section. So here I've got the Stabilo C line at 56 centimeters and the Stabilo D line at 71 centimeters. So now we work in reverse with your line in hand. Doesn't matter which loop you pick on a brand new line. Stick it through the wing attachment point. Get your other free end and pass it through the loop that you just stuck through the wing attachment point. Pull it all the way until you have a loop at the very end. So that's my D line on. Now we're going to go to the C line. Same thing. Pass one loop a little bit through. Get your free end. Pass it through as well. Pull it tight. So here we are at Cascade. We've got our new lines already attached, and our previous second Cascade line still in place. So we're going to put both of these lines side by side. Pass them both through the next Cascade line, and then take the tip of the next Cascade line and pass it through both of those loops. So in the end, you'll have something that looks like this. And again, at the next Cascade, this is the line to the lines that we just replaced. It was inside the A and B positions. So we got them side by side like that. Pass them through, and then take the free end and pass it through. Careful when doing this, you don't do it too fast and cause a compression knot. That can damage your lines. There you go. Once again, you'll have loops on top of loops. Should look like a figure 8. And back again all the way down at the riser. We've still got our B line on the riser, the malleon closed, so we know it hasn't moved, hasn't changed positions. So we're going to open the malleon again, slip the B line off the malleon and out of the O-ring. Our Stabilo line goes on first, and this is where it gets fun. The O-ring actually gets twisted once This is hard to show you. Twisted once, wrapped over the lines, and untwisted again, so that the lines go through this little gap in the O-ring. Does that make sense? So we want to, before we place our lines through it, give the O-ring 1/2 of a twist. And this is only if your wing is equipped with these O-rings. So with the 1/2 twist, we've got our Stabilo line through and onto the malleon. And then still holding that twist, the B line through and onto the malleon. And you take the O-ring over the lines, undo the twist, make sure it's in the opposite direction, place it into the malleon, and there you go. You should get a lower section on, in this case, the back side of the malleon, and the upper section over the front side, and the lines going through the middle of it. Alright, like the lockpicking lawyer, I'll show you again so you know it's not a fluke. So with your malleon open, you take your O-ring, place it onto the malleon first, and give it a 1/2 turn. Should look like an 8. Now you take your lines, in our case the Stabilo line first, through the top of that 8, and onto the malleon, and then the B line, through the top of the 8, onto the malleon. Now we're going to do a 1/2 turn to undo the twist, which will lock in with the O-ring, or lines, and place that back onto the malleon. I know it's really hard to see. So we place our lines through like this, do a 1/2 turn, slide that back on, and close the malleon. Nice and tight so it doesn't come off in flight. So that's pretty much it. Replace 2 lines at the wing tip, which is the hardest one because you have to undo everything down at the riser and work your way up. But 2 lines onto the existing lines, nothing's tangled. Let's go make sure. Well, here we are next day. Nice and breezy. I recorded average of 8, gust of 14, so absolute crap day to fly paramotor, but good day to inflate paraglider. Okay, now that we've got the wing laid out here on this blustery day, we just go over the risers. So I'm matching left and right. My B's, Stabilo's on the outside. This one B's, Stabilo's on the outside. The wing's blowing away. Coming up to where I actually replaced the lines. Definitely the longer one towards the rear. Checking all my connections that I had to remake. And over here, that's a brake. Yep, once again, the Stabilo is definitely, or the rear is definitely longer. Looks good. So there we go. Line replaced and the wing's working. Thanks for checking the video out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm going to the beach and I'm taking this thing with me. Get some cool videos of that out where the Wright brothers did their first flight. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.